In the summer of 1942, Adolf Hitler launched one of his most ambitious offensives of the entire war. His target was the Soviet city of Stalingrad, a massive industrial center on the Volga River. Capturing the city would embarrass Stalin, cut off vital supply routes, and give Germany control of the southern front. Hitler believed Stalingrad would fall quickly. He was wrong. The Battle of Stalingrad would become one of the bloodiest and most brutal confrontations in human history. A battle where temperatures dropped below zero, supplies ran out, and entire units were wiped out in days. It was a battle that would mark the beginning of the end for Nazi Germany. The German Sixth Army, led by General Friedrich Paulus, moved swiftly toward the city. At first they expected an easy victory, but the Soviets had no intention of surrendering. Stalin issued Order No. 227, not one step back. Civilians and soldiers alike were told to defend the city at any cost. Stalingrad quickly transformed into a nightmare battlefield. Unlike open field battles, this was urban warfare at its most savage. Streets, alleys, factories, and even ruined buildings became battlegrounds. The Soviets turned every structure into a fortress. Snipers hid in rubble. Machine guns were placed in windows, basements, and broken stairwells. Tanks struggled to navigate the debris. Entire fights would break out in a single apartment building. Sometimes, the Soviets controlled one floor, the Germans controlled the floor above, and they battled room by room for hours. One of the most important locations was the massive tractor factory, where Soviet workers continued building tanks even as bombs fell around them. When a tank rolled off the assembly line, it went straight into combat, sometimes driven by the very workers who built it. As the battle dragged on, conditions grew worse. Food was scarce. Water froze in canteens. Temperatures plunged below -20 degrees Celsius. Soldiers suffered frostbite, hunger, and exhaustion. If the Soviets refused to give up, reinforcements crossed the frozen Volga River under constant fire. Women dug trenches and carried ammunition. Snipers like Vasily Zaitsev became legends, taking down hundreds of enemy soldiers with deadly precision. Then, in November 1942, the Soviets launched Operation Uranisa, massive counterattack. Instead of attacking Stalingrad directly, they struck the weaker Romanian and Italian units guarding the flanks. The German Sixth Army quickly found itself surrounded, trapped inside the city with no escape. Hitler ordered Paulus to fight to the last man. Supplies were airlifted in, but it wasn't enough. Soldiers received fewer and fewer rations. Horses were eaten, ammunition ran low. Frostbite spread. By January 1943, the situation was hopeless. Entire divisions had been wiped out. The once mighty German army was reduced to starving survivors hiding in rubble. On January 31st, General Paulus surrendered. Days later, the remaining pockets of resistance collapsed. Of the more than 300,000 Axis soldiers who entered Stalingrad, fewer than 100,000 survived to surrender, and only a fraction ever returned home. Stalingrad was more than a battle, it was a turning point. For the first time, the German army had suffered a massive defeat. Their momentum was broken. The Soviets gained confidence, pushing westward toward Berlin. The cost was unimaginable. Over 2 million soldiers and civilians were killed, wounded, or captured. The city was reduced to ruins. But out of that destruction came a victory that changed the course of the war. Stalingrad remains a symbol of resilience, sacrifice, and the will to survive against impossible odds. It is a reminder that even in the harshest conditions, human determination can reshape history. The battle broke Hitler's army, lifted Soviet morale, and set the stage for the final defeat of Nazi Germany.